The following is a rare recording from inside Blizzard HQ between an executive and Matt Uelmen for the original Diablo. Matty, good to see you. Have you brought the recordings?
I sure have. I've got them right here.
Awesome. Let's see what you've got here.
Okay. I've got a couple pieces that I'd like you to listen to. The first one is the Catacomb theme. You know, the second set of levels you showed me. So here we go. So what did you think of that clip?
Oh, nice. So that's like when you're in between battles and hunting for treasure. It sounds really dark and mysterious. I like it.
I mean, yes, but not exactly.
How so?
It's all one song in this area. Each area will be a different setting and therefore will be chock full of lush sounds and environment building instruments. I'm really excited about it. Like here, for example, the catacombs are dark, dank, stony. Bodies are buried here, all sorts of creatures hiding in the shadows. I use deep drums and a haunting chorus to kind of set the stage. Stop right there a second.
Let me get this straight. You've got one song per area. I get that and I really love it. And the boss themes are what, on another disc? It's okay if you don't have them. The game's not finalized just yet.
I have all the music right here on this CD.
Excellent. Can I hear what you did for Zar the Mad? He's such a powerful wizard. I was thinking maybe squealing guitars when he rips magic missiles at you. Let us hear it.
Maybe I'm not saying this properly. The music?
Yes.
The whole game is going to be ambient. I wanted to really build a three-dimensional experience with sounds and instruments without the traditional video game stylings.
I am not following.
The battle. All the battles will happen to this music in the catacombs.
Oh, I get it. The battle has not yet begun. And when you're fighting...
You hear this.
But... how will I know a fight is happening if there is no battle music?
What do you mean? Through the magic of sight. There's always fighting. You're constantly fighting hordes of enemies. There's no change. If the music stopped and changed to battle music every time a monster was on screen, you'd never get a full track in.
Oh, I think I get it. Each area has its own theme.
Right.
And each area has a different aesthetic. So you've created something unique for each set of levels, right?
Yes, 100%. That was the Catacomb theme. Just like when you're in Hell's series of levels, you will hear this.
Wow. That really captures what we've designed here. The bloody walls, the gore, the real essence of what our fans always imagined hell would look like and sound like now, thanks to you.
Well, thank you very much. That means a lot to me. It's really unique and I like it.
It is, and this is all I want to hear until I myself play the game to keep the anticipation up.
Okay. Well, again, thank you. But can I ask, what do you mean when you say keep the anticipation up?
I cannot wait to hear the Diablo fight song.
Motherfucker! Welcome to the chipsgrooveradio podcast. I'm your host, Mike, and today we're covering Matt Uelmen's legendary Diablo 2 soundtrack. Whenever I hear someone say ambient music, I immediately think of Matt Uelmen. He has delivered 2 killer soundtracks in the Diablo series, and I would consider his style to be a bit minimalist, especially for Diablo and Diablo 2. While his songs have an obvious structure to them, they also offer a different listening experience, oftentimes having many themes and motifs running through each song. Of his work, I wanted to focus on Diablo 2 because of the obvious impact the game had on almost every front. Diablo 2 took everything the first game did and raised the bar, and that includes Uelmen's score. It's just such a wonderful mix of style and colorful writing, and that's what I wanted to focus on. The first song I wanted to cover is Rogue Encampment. It's an acoustic guitar-driven song, and it immediately harkens back to the theme of Tristram from the first game with its intricate work, but this time opening with a sorrowful string section and a lightly electrified guitar. When the intro winds down, in comes that iconic strum we all fell in love with from the first game, but it's a little bit different. In typical Uelmen fashion, he does some really fancy picking and harmonic work that creates such a strong picture in my mind. We've got warriors beginning their quest to stop the Dark Wanderer, and they're hot on his trail, facing all the devastation and pain he's wrought along the way. Rogue Encampment captures that sorrow and sense of wilderness portrayed in the camp very well. I really love how the strings kind of build up the actual, what I view to be the actual intro to the song with that just powerful strum on the acoustic guitar. And then you've got that flute section towards the beginning of those deep acoustics. It just grabs me and really gives me that feeling of being alone in the woods. Uelmen's usage of a slight echo on the strings also adds depth to the song. It creates that open space we're seeing in the game and fleshes out the world of Diablo through sound. Now, I have to choose my songs carefully because the album has quite a few good ones, honestly. Most of my favorites are encampment songs, which is probably not surprising. They are clearly heard more than anything else in the game. One song for sure I wanted to showcase is the wilderness theme, though. When you first set out into the world of Diablo 2, it's a lush green field and there are fiendish creatures roaming about. Uelmen captures this aesthetic with winds in the background and a steady percussion section providing that deep backbone. The harp and acoustic guitars fiddle around at key moments to add to the flavor of the song, primarily driven by the drums in the first part. It's got a very tribal feeling to it in the beginning, and soon after it kind of dissolves into a darker motif of a chorus singing low notes, strings and horns bringing in the adventure. The whole song is really nice, but my absolute favorite part is towards the end when the song takes a bit of a dip into heavy metal with a clean electric guitar riff and a perfectly placed snare hit with his signature reverb on it. Again, it gives that sense of space and fullness, which sounds weird, but it works. As the section moves on with another tribal drum beat, low strings and synth fill in and just give the song a wonderful groove. He really took the song to another level with that last part, and it's just so cool. Even with that metal kind of picking, that riff is just so... It could be construed in many different ways, but I view it as a metal riff kind of snuck in, and being a metalhead, I love that. So moving on, one other cool thing about the soundtrack is that the dungeon themes from the original game are kind of sprinkled into the dungeons of this game. For example, in the theme of Spider Caverns, you can hear the dungeon theme from the first set of levels in the original game come through. They're like little Easter eggs hidden inside a completely different song. So it's kind of a nod to the original game. It's a nod, tip of the cap to the original players, and it's just fun to listen to. Now, in this next selection, I'm going to play the lead in to the original theme, and I want to see if you can pick it up. You can hear the sections flow pretty damn well, and while the shakers are going towards the middle of the song, we can really hear what I always equated to a buzzsaw slowly creeping in, and it's a key component of the dungeon theme from the first game, and before you know it, and without missing a beat, it really kicks in. It's really well done, and it is a welcome surprise to anyone who played the original game. Now, that being said, I completely skipped the first half of that song, which is brand new to Diablo 2. But I just wanted to show the kind of mix-in that he does every once in a while in this game. And it's complete respect to the original game, the players of the first game, and kind of a way to expand on these original songs. And I thought it was really cool. You can hear that there's not much of a traditional song in there in a lot of themes in this game. And that's what this album is. It's more of an offering in aesthetics rather than outright songs. In contrast to, say, a normal soundtrack where the instruments might tell you what's happening on screen from moment to moment, the instruments here provide the environment to what you're seeing on screen, and Uelmen captures that in every locale the game chooses. The last song I played was a dark cavern hidden inside a dense jungle. The next couple tracks I'm going to highlight will be completely different. And just as a little game, I want you to conjure up an image. What do you see when you hear these next couple songs? Now, I know I can't hear you, I'm just having fun, but what did you picture when you heard those? Those two selections come from songs that center around a desert town, Lut Gholein, and the outskirts of it. And you can really feel that sense of desolation in these songs. You can imagine feeling the heat of the blazing sun overhead and the whipping winds tossing grains of sand against your body. I know I'm being colorful and perhaps dramatic in these descriptions, but my point is that Matt Uelmen paints these pictures perfectly. Without his ambient tracking or even just traditional music there, the world of Sanctuary, the world of Diablo, would feel plain empty. Now, as stated previously, some of the material from the first game is used in this album, and you might think it lazy. It's really not. Uelmen does expand and creates even more beauty and depth with the tracks he reuses. Like the deleted scenes from the Lord of the Rings films, we're thinking, how can this get better than it already is? And now we can't watch anything but the extended editions. The same thing goes for Uelmen's Diablo 2 tracks that reuse material. Now, most notably to this score was the addition of the Tristram theme. It was the town theme from the original Diablo and easily the one we heard the most. This song, hands down, is the epitome of Diablo. It's such a dark melody and perhaps a little sad. The inhabitants of Tristram are perhaps leagues away from any other settlement, and all of these terrible things are happening right under their feet. Sacrifices are being made, rituals are being done, demons are being unleashed, and Diablo himself is being summoned. There are only a handful of people alive for you to communicate with, and the theme of Tristram really communicates that despair, what the town is going through. Whether it was a design choice or necessity, Tristram is always under the moonlight in the first game as well, so I think that really adds to the somber tone. I remember when the original game came out, my sister and I would play it nonstop, especially because I think when we first got our hands on it, it was in the summer. And there were many nights where I would lie on the floor while she played at the computer desk, and I would just close my eyes and listen to her playing Diablo. And that might sound weird, but the amount of time you spend in town is pretty significant. Turning the visuals off and just feeling that song flow over me was powerful, and it has put this song on my top 20 game songs of all time list since then. Especially that midsection where the guitars kind of calm down and that flute starts going. And that flute alone just gives such a powerful sense of solitude, wilderness, kind of you can try and call for help, but no one is going to help you. And that, I believe, is what, the designers were going for. The town is completely cut off and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, for the release of Diablo 2, Uelmen added a new section that feels like it wafts in and out of reality. It's got a clean electric guitar setting it up, and the acoustic just shimmers about. There's a nice flute and woodwind section again that brings forth that dark nature of the beasts that have ransacked this town. It feels more sinister than the original part of the song, but it's a great addition. That cello at the end is really powerful. I love it. Now moving on, I'm going to go on to the expansion for Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction. Uelmen was called back to design the sounds of Harrogath, the barbarian homeland in a wintry country next to a quite dangerous mountain. And right away you can notice there's a change in the music, but not for the worse. Uelmen did make it much more orchestral this time, and I think it really does work. The theme of Harrogath is a delicate one with flitting strings at the beginning to kind of ease it forward, and the woodwinds take center stage at the beginning and then ramp up to a beautiful string melody. It's a very slow and different song from the rest of the Diablo 2 soundtrack. I think it conveys the majesty of a mountainside town pretty expertly, with the beauty and danger of the situation tied into it. The second half of the song does feel a little bit more ominous and maybe tragic. It displays another thing I enjoy from this album. It hints at a motif from the Tristram theme. Uelmen has peppered in part of the Tristram/Diablo motif throughout this album, and if you're not paying attention, you'll miss them. You can hear the woodwinds/flute and the horns kind of play it together, and it's really nice. That eye for detail is something that really ties this soundtrack to the original game in a special way. I know it's full of stuff like that, but reusing songs completely is different than sneaking in motifs and themes in the middle of a brand new one. And he makes them work to the point of oftentimes being overlooked. It's a nice touch, and it shows that Uelmen is a wonderful composer who could probably stand up to just about any film composer that I can think of. Diablo 2 is, hands down, a fantastic soundtrack that delivers a mood-setting experience like few others. There are only a couple of tracks that I've showed off that are genuine songs, and while the expansion tracks are most certainly more theatrical and song-like than the core game's tracks, they are in the minority. Matt Uelmen is a master at capturing a visual setting and delivering what you can imagine hearing if you were there. It undoubtedly helped Diablo rise to the successes it has enjoyed throughout the 26-year lifespan it's had. I've heard nothing but praise for him and the way he handled the first two games in the franchise, and I could not agree more. Uelmen's abilities help not only bring the soundscape to the game, but it really helped players immerse themselves in a deeply realized world while they slayed hordes of demons and the Lord of Terror himself, Diablo. Pick this album up. It has at least 2 new releases on vinyl. One of them is still on pre-order with iam8bit.com. No, they're not paying me any money. It's just I know where to get it. And there's only a limited number available of these beautiful box sets. So if you're really interested, shell out the $200. I know it's expensive, but it's going to be worth it. It's a beautiful box set, and the album is awesome. This album is without a doubt a 10 out of 10, and that goes for the first game as well, since they are interconnected. That's all I've got for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Again, shameless plug. If you like it, if you're interested, if you have comments, critiques, I want to know all of it. The chipsgrooveradio podcast on Facebook. Like, subscribe, leave review on your podcast app of choice. I'd really appreciate it. I love you guys. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.